Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this high-level Pokemon Unite match. I will be your caster for today, Tetcher. I have casted Dreamhacks, IEMs, Blizzcons, you name it. I have covered it for my over 10-year-long career, and now we're casting some Pokemon Unite. Let's get this underway. On the blue side, we have a Duraludon being played by 5MS Xmoose. We have a Hooper by VrtraX. Lovely little Lucario here, the most played character, one of the highest win rate characters in the game right now, and they're going to be taking on the solo top lane. We're going to go for the 1-1-3 strat that's being played by Kiflynt. Rowlet, eventually going to be that Decidueye, of course, being played by Novenza. That's an interesting one because we don't see too much Decidueye, as it is one of the weaker heroes in terms of win rates, but the people who can play it will absolutely dominate with it. And we have another 5MS player, a bit of a duo queue here with 5MS Amas, ready to see if they can add some extra support to this bottom lane with that defensive playstyle. On the other side, already becoming that Blissey, it is I Zoe. For a little bit of extra pressure, they're charging forward, trying to set it up with that safeguard. They do pick up the kill onto the Hooper. Friendly Hooper here for Ħ Bahamuth. Very nice to see here. We love seeing that Hooper. We'll see if either one goes to the hyperspace hole or whether they're going to stick with Trick, that more standard hyper supporty style play. With a Blissey on the board, we may see that hyperspace hole being used. Sylveon by Rise Mauling, already picking up the hyper voice for that crazy chase down damage. Duraludon by Rise BongoC. And finally, we have DVT Dev playing that Absol, trying to chase down Lucario, but is going to get zoned away here. And a quick score, giving Red Team the lead. The pressure's already coming out here as they do go for the hyperspace hull for Bahamuth, as they're trying to chase forward. Push into that blue zone, already getting it to 65, trying to pressure. Bahamuth zoning for the rest of the team, so Duraludon and Zoe can get out of there. Nice damage coming out from blue team's Duraludon, though, forcing the retreat hyperspace hole, offering the heal to Bongo, who does not take it. Instead chooses to go for that little bit of extra health. On the blue side right now, just gathering up experience, seeing what they can do. Bit of pressure onto top lane as Lucario is outnumbered. The Sylveon and the Absol pressuring up there, trying to get some extra damage. And they've brought that board up to 21 out of 80. 21 left to go. Very rough to see there. We saw the full hyperspace hold, trying to allow the lane swap if they wanted it, but it looks like we just seen a more standard manual style lane swap. As Absol's making their way up towards that top lane, looking for another turn, and then of course to grab all those wild Pokemon. Right now, looks like just a more defensive style. Here comes the hyperspace hole from blue team to allow them to rotate up to the top lane. Looks like both these teams might be setting up for a Rotom before a Dreadmore. Stealth Rox comes out as they fight over the Vesper Queen. Incredible damage coming out as it's going to be Duraludon taken out first. Lucario is desperately trying to get away with incredible damage coming out from Absol to try and finish the job. Lucario will survive here, but there's now only 12 left on that top point. Hooper defending bot lane, as you can see Duraludon and Zoe on that Blissey trying to step up. VrtraX pushing forward. A slow smoke does delay that though. Xmoose trying to get a good angle, pushing forward. We already are seeing an incredible dive from the Absol, but quickly blinking away to avoid the damage. Lucario pressures the back lane, tries to take out that Blissey, but Lucario will go down in this fight. Decidueye on the board to try and set up here. Sneaky move here with that Storm Clock. VrtraX will go down, but is able to get a little bit more points onto that objective as we see a huge rush for that top Rotom by basically everyone. Decidueye and Slowbro, though, stuck in the bottom lane. Hooper can get Sylveon to top lane with that hyperspace hull, but Kiflynt is alone for quite a while. Duraludon on their way up to try and help. Here comes Hooper, though, managed to make their way via teleport to that bottom lane. That will be able to deliver Decidueye to the top lane to even up the numbers here as Kiflynt tries to dive forward, but gets knocked back as this will be a red team Rotom. Very aggressively done. Big dive from Kiflynt into the back line, trying to take people down. Already does get rid of the Absol, but the push still comes. Rotom makes it in, and that's going to be the death of that top zone and everyone in this top lane. A massacre coming in from the red team here, as they'll even manage to get a solid over 60 points onto that bottom point. Did Duraludon get theirs in, though, actually? Duraludon did get theirs in. That was a big turn-in for them. Gonna quickly try and teleport away. There's a hyperspace hole. Stealth Rock's dropped. That's gonna get BongoC out of there without too much pressure. Blissey, though, running for their life. Zoe in trouble. The chase comes in from Duraludon, but it's not gonna be enough for the kill. The helping hand gives Zoe the speed they need, but it's not gonna stop Absol from chasing in, and Absol does go down a little bit too hyper-aggressive here. Hyperspace hole for the lane swap if required, but it looks like no one else will take it. Red team, though, doing the same thing. Hooper trying to bring in BongoC. Teleports in for X-Moves. Picks up the kill. But Lucario still deep in the backline. But Hooper making great use of the slow zone past the score. And that is very beautifully done. Fantastic use of that teleport to bring in BongoC for the assist. And now they're going to rotate down to bot lane to try and assist onto that Dreadmore. Blissey is already down, though. Numbers not really well in their favor as Amas tries to zone out with the Surfer. Cannot do so. Dreadmore down to about half health as Decidueye is doing some good damage onto that backline. Form unbound for both Hoopers, but we already see blue team expanded. VrtraX taken out with the Hyper Voice as Kiflynt is able to dive in and pick up the kills there. This is going to allow Duraludon to move on to the Dreadmore, and Blissey cannot step in to interrupt. That will be a blue team Dreadmore, which they desperately need as they are currently over 170 points behind. Trying to step in. Duraludon on the backline is doing a pretty good amount of harassment there with that flash cannon. Hyper Voice, though, great zoning. Has to use the bolt over the wall there to escape that extra bit of damage. The eject button does a lot of work here, but this is still very heavily pressured down in this bot lane. Decidueye trying to zone away. Here comes the ult from Duraludon, trying to take out his opposite and will successfully do so. But there's another fight happening up here in the top lane as Rotom is once again being postured for. Bot lane is being defended by Decidueye. Here comes Absol onto the backline, but doesn't want to get caught out by Lucario here. Dodges once, dodges twice, and that is an accidental score clock activated by VrtraX there. But the slow bro does allow the kill onto that Absol. Very nicely done with the lockdown of VrtraX. Will quickly teleport out to make sure that they can get topped up and keep the team alive during this Rotom fight. Blissey has arrived charging far forward. Sylvia with the Hyper Voices continuing to chase aggressively. Duraludon looking for the zone here. VrtraX once again teleports back for the heal. Lucario again in that backline. Full team teleport with the hyperspace, though. Everyone's going to be fully healed, but no one returned. They let it go. They didn't want to get caught when they came out of that. So Blissey very nearly got themselves caught out of position as they returned alone. Rotom not stolen here, fully taken by blue team, who again needs it. They're still that 70 points behind. They have a lot to turn in here if they can stay alive. But Duraludon already taken out on the defensive side. Blissey trying to hold the line here, trying to keep everything going. In the meantime, red team continues to push that bottom lane. We're going to see the lane swap so that they can go assist the full 5-man push. Hooper will be able to turn into top lane, but will it really matter if there's this incredible push down in bot lane that they get punished for? Zoe. The game calms down for a little bit, looking to try and set up to try and push up. More AS Orbs being picked up by the entire team here for this mass push into the bot lane. They're waiting to see who shows as Dreadmore spawns. They can grab this. That push into bottom lane could be devastating. Duraludon, BongoC zoning away here, doing the best they can. They easily grab that Dreadmore, and they're heading straight into that turn. And oh, comes out from BongoC. That puts Armus in a solid, really rough position, but Armus able to escape. They turn in, they destroy the bottom goal zone, and they're running straight for the Zapdos as they already have a small advantage here. They're trying to set up the form unbound being used by Hooper, trying to zone away the enemy Hooper. Both teams have set up their teleports. Zapdos goes down instantly, but it's going over to red team with a solid point lead, 120 in their favor, and they are in a great position to try and close this out. We will see Hooper go down, but Absol with 50 points is going to make their score up to 233 just on their own. That's more than the entire team has. DVT Dev has been able to put on a clinic here with that sneaky score play from the jungle, even looking to grab the buff while they have it. We saw a little bit of a turn-in from Hooper sneaking in to get some extra points, but it is literally double the score here. There is very little that can be done to stop this from going in favor of the red team. 720 in favor of the red team compared to 350. Blissey is literally tanking Slowbro and Hooper to get an extra couple points in. Will get zoned out a little bit here. Will be forced to run away, but there's a minute left. Very little that can be done. Hooper again got a sneaky turn in, but it's far too late. 350 to 754 in the final stages. Red team can just play defensively here. You can see Duraludon ready to launch themselves to try and deny, to try and zone if they need to. Lucario sets up to try and sneak a turn in, but there's very little that can be done here. A miracle play would need to happen for them to get away here. Nice into the hyperspace hole once again by Red Team's Hooper to set them up for a nice escape. Blue Team Hooper forced to teleport back to base, and Blissey snuck another turn in while that was happening. The Sidgewai unable to do the damage. Blissey's getting away. Blissey will escape here. Duraludon trying to sneak in, but X-Moose goes down. Kiflynt, it is up to them to score, but the time is up, and that is going to be a very solid win for our red team. Dominant performance, incredible play by Absol especially, constantly turning it all across the map. Scoring a huge amount of points there, 233, over double blue team's score. Very nicely done by DVT Dev, especially the Rise crew, all scoring over 100 as well, putting on a great performance there. BongoC, Morling, and Zoe able to get some incredible points going. Really nice use of that safeguard to get some extra points on those scores, those when they push forward as a team. And BongoC, with that full Duraludon ultimate, was able to cause so much zoning that there was very little that we could see done from the blue team. They were just constantly zoned away during some of those bigger team fights from that revolving ruin. And while both teams did make very heavy use of that hyperspace hole, you can see it much more liberally used here by CL Bahamuth, who doesn't have points on the board, but was able to do an insane amount of work by actually just positioning themselves and positioning their team for these team fights. And if you have a look at some of these assists as well, you can see some really good work done here. Kills, for starters, very heavily in favor of that red team. The lowest kill count on there is 4, compared to the second lowest kill count, 2, 2, 1, 1. And X-Moose, the only one really getting a solid amount of points with 11 kills there. Beautifully done here. Very nicely done. 13 for Bahamuth, getting all those assists. 10 kills for BongoC. The Duraludons really getting some nice damage out there with their DPS. Here are the movesets for those who want them so that you can copy them for yourself. Very fun to see. Mostly standard across the board. I'm not seeing anything that's standing out to me too much here. Sometimes we'll see that Stealth Rock swapped out a little bit here, but it's mostly the go-to for most Duraludons here. So you can, like we said, see everything pretty much across the board. Helping Hand and Safeguard for the Blissey. I miss support main, so I noticed this a little bit more. And both the Hoopers going for the same thing. Even with the recent nerf at the time recording this to the hyperspace hole, we're still seeing that go as opposed to Trick this time. So teams valuing that repositioning and that potential for a full team heal, even though it sets up for your opponent more than that single target shield and that extra Shadow Ball, valuing that support even more. Which is fun. It's cool to see that combined with the Blissey from Zoe there, working out quite well in their favor, knowing that they have that unstoppable when they come back through the portal if they do want to regroup, allowing them to protect their team and maybe counteract some of that setup that they're offering with that hyperspace hull. So, ladies and gentlemen, this has been my first Unite cast. I hope you liked it. I'm going to keep doing these. I'm going to keep getting better. If you enjoyed, please consider subscribing. I have been Tetcher. I have been your caster for today. Look at that healing. Very nice. Look at that actual sustain from the Hoopers compared to Blissey. Blissey's doing her best, but a solid 11,000 more for Bahamuth, and VrtraX going up to 27,000. Really nicely done with that sustain. But yeah, sorry everybody, I hope you all enjoyed, hope you had a good time. If you enjoyed, please hit that subscribe button, and make sure to leave comments of what characters you would like to see me commentate the most. Which Pokemon would you like to see in the next game? I could absolutely keep an eye out for them on the spectate mode. And hey, if you are a professional Unite player, drop a message. I will happily commentate most Unite games from those top levels so that we can see the best Unite on this channel that we possibly can. I have been right at the end, I absolutely botched it. I have been Tetcher. Thank you very much for watching. That's how it happens sometimes. That's how it goes. And I'll see you all next time. Have a good night.